everybody, how you doing? I have a story for you from North Dakota. That is where I'm from. And let's just get started and get into this. I will add all the newspaper clippings and photos and things like that as we go along. So, first I'm going to read what the Bismarck Tribune had published in the newspaper. On April 24th, 1920, the headline on the cover of the Bismarck Tribune read, "7 Dead Bodies Found by Turtle Lake Farmer." Now, I have researched high and low for information that no one else has on this story. I wanted it to reflect the persons involved and their family trees. So I'll start with the victims. Jacob Wolff, who was born on 18 of April 1879 in Russia. He married in 1905 in Turtle Lake, North Dakota to Beta Bosrit. She was born the 15th of April 1885, also in Russia. Jacob came to America when he was 21 years old, and Beta came in 1902. And according to the 1900 census, he was a servant for the Ketterlings in McIntosh County, North Dakota. Very few short years later, he's married and living in Lake Williams, North Dakota, in the 1910 census with 4 children. So Jacob and Beta, with a daughter that I'm not sure which one, the Wolffs had the following children. They had Bertha, who was born in 1907, Maria, who was born in 1910, Edna was born in 1913, Lydia was born in 1914, Martha was born in 1917, and Emma was born in 1919. And I can feel for the families having that many girls because I have 4 daughters. My youngest ones are twins. So a house full of girls can be a handful of drama. Anyways, Jacob and his family were well liked by their neighbors and friends. The day of the murder will be remembered forever. It is a sad event, but what follows gets harder to swallow. Not only were these family members murdered, but another was too, and for some unclear reason, the boy is continually referred to as the hired farmhand. He's 13-year-old Jake Hoffer, and he is related to this family. His father was Bernhard Hoffer, brother of Emanuel Hoffer, who was Christina Bossert, sister to Mrs. Wolff. This is very upsetting to me. I figured this out by reading a few articles and doing some genealogy. The poor boy should have and still should be referred to as a family member, not a hired hand. Okay, the funeral at the Wolff farm. Mrs. Wolff's sister is holding Emma, the only survivor. She was found in her crib, malnourished and dehydrated. Thousands of family members and friends and neighbors all came to the funeral to say goodbye and give condolences to the other family members. Emma was raised by her aunt and uncle, her mom's sister, until she finished high school. This is the only photo I could find of her, and I will post it. Here are photos of the Wolff family and the 13-year-old Jake Hoffer, and the dates of the birth for Mr. and Mrs. Wolff are wrong. The murdered family is the English translation of the German inscription Die Ermordiate family. That appears on the front of the Wolff tombstone. And they are buried at Turtle Lake, McLean County, North Dakota, Turtle Lake Cemetery. Crime scene photos. I'm going to show crime scene photos. You got a weak stomach? Don't look. Mr. Wolff and 2 of his daughters were found in the barn. Notice there's still food on the table from breakfast. Some of the family members were found in the cellar. Now for the other innocent people's lives ruined. Henry C. Layer, the accused. was born the 12th of November 1885 in Enfield, Russia. He came to America the 12th of October 1886 and landed in New York. His first wife was Matilda Miller. I could not find a marriage date for them. They had 2 children, Elizabeth and Edward. They were divorced the 11th of March 1911. Second wife, Lydia Borowski. They were married the 30th of January 1912 in Ashley, North Dakota. Their children were Blanche Rose, born in 1910. She was actually a stepdaughter who always referred to him as her dad, even after his death. And there's a photo. Alvin Layer was born in 1913. Emil was born in 1915. Berthold was born in 1916. Edwin, 1917. And Willard, 1919. All of the children, except for Blanche and possibly Willard, were placed in the Ward Home for Children in Fairmont, Minnesota, after Henry was sentenced to life in prison for the murder of the Wolff family. Here's a clipping describing what happened. This article is from the Fairmont Minnesota Centennial, October 14th, 1922, concerning the death of the Berthold Layer. Tragedy at the Ward Home instantly snuffs out life of inmate 6 years old. And yes, at orphanages and other asylums, they were referred to as inmates, just like prisons. Little Berthold Layer falls under wheels of heavy load of sugar beets, one of 7 children without parental care. There was sadness at the Ward Home today as little orphans gathered around a sealed form of Berthold Layer, age 6, who was instantly killed this morning when a wagon loaded with sugar beets passed over his head, fracturing his skull just at its base. Among the orphans were 3 of Berthold's brother and a sister. Edwin, age 4, was too small to realize just what had happened, and tears welled in his eyes as he attempted to comfort his sister Blanche and brothers Alvin and Emil. The little boy had gone to the beet field south of the orphanage with other boys and F.C. Fuller, the driver of the wagon. He was returning to the house with them about 9 o'clock in the morning, and Mr. Fuller had driven into the lane and was about to drive through the gate when the accident occurred. "I told the children to stay away from that wagon," said Mr. Fuller, "and did not see Berthold, who was on the opposite side. The longboard obstructed my view, and the first thing I knew was when the back of the wagon rose up." "Berthold had been run over," shouted one of the boys. "I picked him up, but the life must have left him instantly. He made no outcry." I picked him up. Okay. Dr. Richardson, who had hurried into the orphanage to make an examination, said that the death was practically instantaneous. Berthold was one of the family of 7, 4 of whom were brought to the Ward House last June, and the father and the mother of the children are living, but have parted. And Berthold and 3 brothers and 1 sister, who to the Ward Home this year made their home with their mother and their grandmother. Their home was at Turtle Lake, North Dakota, but the children were brought to Fairmont, Minnesota, by Reverend George Newcomb of Bismarck. Funeral arrangements are being held and pending the word of the boy's mother. After this tragic event, Henry C. Layer's second wife, Lydia, divorces him the 21st of December, 1922. I believe the children may have been adopted out to a family member, the last name of Ben, B-E-N-N. While researching, each child was listed with this name in certain family trees. What on earth could have made anybody murder all of these people in this beautiful family? It is also tragic about the Layer children. Some people had left comments on my blog post. I have a blog post about this and all the pictures and everything on there. So they had left comments saying how sad it was. Um, several people that are related to these people also left comments. And then one person that did not leave a name, it says unknown, says that the reason that Jacob Hoffer is buried with the Wolff family is because both of his parents had died by this point, and his mother had died when he was a year old, and his father died when he was 10. In the 1920 census taken in January of 1920, Jacob is living with what appears to be a brother of his stepmother who had remarried after Bernard died and moved to Montana. He is listed as a farmhand there as well. If that's not sad, that poor little boy. Henry C. Layers. Henry maintained his innocence. Even as he laid in the prison hospital, he told the warden he was innocent and that a man that was admitted to the state hospital in Jamestown was responsible for the murders. Unfortunately, according to the warden, he gave no name of this man. 2 families destroyed, hurt, betrayed. Hopefully someday the whole truth will come out and these families can heal. There are still family members out there that are very hurt on both sides, and I pray that they find peace and the unanswered truth. Although I don't think that will ever happen. I mean, this was back in the 1920s. I don't know. I'm sure the person that committed the murders, even if it was the guy that was in the hospital, the Jamestown Mental Hospital, are long dead and gone by now. Sad, sad story. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you noticed, I have a new backdrop. I finally got my prison backdrop. And I do have my cup of coffee for all of my criminal genealogy group people. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'm really sorry it's short. I am also very sorry I haven't posted anything in a long time. I started a new job. I have to get up at 4 in the morning, and I take care of my elderly parents. So my hands are full. But I will try and get another one within a week. So y'all have a lovely day, drink plenty of coffee, and remember, add those naughty ancestors to your tree. Toodaloo, everyone.